So our 10th and final speaker in this half of the evening is Razzaghi. Estuarine restoration, can we put things right?
What do you think happens if we don't have fresh water to drink anymore? We will die, right? Estuaries are where rivers connect to seas, and they're alive, just like us. So the same thing will happen to them. Quite often we change the dynamics of estuaries by building dams or diverting rivers, but we forget that there are consequences to these changes. The estuary we can see in the photo is called the Maketū estuary in the Bay of Plenty, New Zealand. In its prime, it used to be a huge trade center and it was full of fish, so a lot of people relied on it for their livelihood. Back in 1950s, it was also a hotspot for flooding, so the river flowing into it was diverted out to the sea. Without enough fresh water, the estuary started to die. But don't worry, this isn't another sad environmental story. The EV and the locals were deeply concerned about the loss of ecosystem, so they did everything they could to make a change. And finally, in 2020, the Bay of Plenty Regional Council diverted 20% of the fresh water back to the Maketū estuary using automatic gates. Now, why is this significant? This whole project has provided us with the opportunity to further our knowledge in estuarine restoration, specifically using large-scale engineering solutions. And for my part, I have dedicated my whole research to see the effects of this project and help us avoid future mistakes. How do I do that? Well, I collect data using cutting-edge instruments all throughout the estuary. During the 5 weeks of my fieldwork, I got to swim in the Maketū estuary and walk on the smelly mud, and I believe that brought me and Maketū much closer together. And I finally understood why people are so passionate about it. I must admit that Maketū pies were a bonus as well. Now, I know you're waiting for some good news. Well, based on my results, only 2 weeks after the gates were commissioned, we see that the water quality is increasing and improving. That's great, and the estuary is coming back to life slowly. Good, so our job is done. Not so fast. What about the long-term effects? Is the estuary going to adapt to sea level rise in like 100 years? Or what if instead of 20% of fresh water, we added 30% of fresh water? These are the questions that I'm going to explore in my research to restore the lifeblood of our communities and maybe have a positive impact on this beautiful blue planet we call home. Thank you.